Hello frequent flyers, it's Graham here. Buckle up because today I'm going to tell you how I managed to pull off flying in a Delta One suite. Yes, we're talking lie-flat seats, closing doors, and that sleek, luxurious cabin for under $350 USD. And no, I didn't use points. But of course, there is a catch. I'll dive into that in a bit. But the real question we're going to answer is this Delta One seat just a fancy gimmick, or is it actually as good as it looks? I'll be breaking down everything from how I snagged this deal to the in-flight experience, so stick around to find out if this cabin is really worth every penny, or if it's all smoke and mirrors. This flight from Atlanta to Los Angeles was on one of Delta's top-of-the-line A350-900 aircraft, the kind they typically reserve for international routes. But if you pay attention and play your cards right, sometimes you can snag a seat on these long-haul planes even for short-haul domestic flights. They're mainly available through Delta hubs. It is a rare treat. Now, normally this seat would be marked as Delta One, which is Delta's version of long-haul business class. But since this was a shorter flight, the class was simply labeled first class. Much of the experience is the same: the lie-flat seat, closing door for privacy, and the sleek design. However, there are a few trade-offs. You don't get an amenity kit, blanket, or lounge access automatically with your first class domestic ticket. Luckily for me, I have my American Express Platinum card, Canadian version, which gets me into the Delta Sky Clubs. We'll check that out shortly before diving into the flight itself. Before we even get to the flight, let me just set the scene here at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, which, fun fact, is officially the busiest airport in the world. Now, you'd think that would mean chaos, but honestly, it's usually a surprisingly smooth experience. Everything just works. It's not the flashiest airport, but it's functional and easy to navigate, which is what I think really matters most in an airport. Atlanta's plane train is also something that I love. It's exactly what it sounds like. A train that runs through the basement of the airport, shuttling you between the various concourses like a little airport subway system. Today I'm flying out of Concourse E, where most of the international flights leave from. I arrived in Concourse D, just a quick train ride away. Speaking of lounges, let's talk about the Delta Sky Club in Concourse E. It's one of my favorites because it has showers, a feature I usually save for longer international flights. But today was an exception. I had an early flight before this one, and let's just say my morning shower didn't quite happen. Apologies to the passenger next to me. When I arrived, the lounge wasn't too busy, so booking a shower was a breeze. It was 15 minutes of pure bliss, complete with Grown Alchemist products. Yes, I noted the exact scents because I'm a sucker for these things: sweet orange, cedarwood, and sage. The shower room itself was sleek, tiled in Delta red, and came fully stocked with towels. 4 of them, beautifully stacked like some spa experience. Okay, we made it to the showers at the Delta Sky Club. It is actually super nice. There was no wait. I'm at the E-Gate Sky Club. 6 showers available. I think 1 other one is in use. So as you can see, we have La Toilette, and then this really nice shower area. Shower complete. Did a cheeky outfit change. Really nice details in here. Got Delta on all the towels. Don't love these kind of taps, but it actually comes out at a nice temperature and quite consistently. Just a little toe. Needless to say, Delta gets 2 thumbs up for this shower experience. Now that I'm feeling fresh, let's talk about the rest of the lounge. One of the things I love about Delta lounges is how consistent they are with their food and drink offerings. Sure, the Sky Club itself isn't anything fancy design-wise, but it's functional and it does its job, just like the Atlanta airport. Plus, it has great views for plane spotting, which is always a win in my book. Food-wise, there were tons of sandwiches, but here's the kicker: only 2 kinds of sandwiches. So I had a lot of choice in quantity, but not so much in variety. My personal favorite was the turkey, brie, and honey mustard croissant sandwich. I'm telling you, the world needs more croissant sandwiches. There was also a salad bar, and they did have options for people who prefer their salad in lettuce form or pasta form. Usually, I'll lean towards pasta. There's also a popcorn maker in the lounge, which to me is a fun little touch. It's like being at the movies. And of course, I visited the dessert tray. 2 types of cookies and cupcakes. Yes, please. Our flight was delayed by about an hour and a half thanks to some lovely weather in the area, but once boarding finally started, I took that iconic left turn into the Delta One cabin and was immediately blown away. These are some of the most visually stunning seats in the sky. The whole cabin is bathed in Delta blue, with the seats looking brand new, sleek, and comfy, complete with that subtle triangle cross-stitch pattern and of course, the closing door for privacy. The color scheme is a mix of Delta blue and red with ambient lighting that makes the whole thing feel like a modern art installation at 30,000 feet. Today, my seat was 7A. One of the window seats closer to the window itself. They alternate between being closer to the aisle or the window. If you can, always snag a true window seat. You get better views and you're tucked away from the aisle, giving you a little more privacy. Now let's talk about the seat itself. First off, it's spacious. Lie flat, of course, and comes with all the bells and whistles. To my right were the seat controls, including quick buttons for going straight into bed mode or adjusting the lighting, as well as the in-flight entertainment remote. I have to say, I like this little sleek remote more than the massive PSP style ones that require two hands to use. I'm 6'5", so legroom is always a concern. But this seat didn't disappoint. There's a little ramp where your feet rest, which I found to be a bit unnecessary, but hey, it's there if you like that sort of thing. For me, it would have been better if it was just a spot to stash an extra bag. The touchscreen was massive and vibrant, and the mood lighting throughout the cabin really tied the whole experience together. Delta has done a great job of keeping the design sleek and modern without going overboard. Delta's in-flight entertainment is always solid, and this was no exception. They had a ton of movies and TV shows to choose from, both new releases and old favorites. However, I prefer the flight map, as any man of culture does. The noise-canceling headphones were completely sufficient, but if you're like me and prefer to use your own, you'll be happy to know they're working hard on adding Bluetooth connectivity to all their planes. Now, a quick word of warning on the harmful nature of playing games on a plane, at least its in-flight entertainment screen.
Alright, we are about halfway into the journey. I have broken the in-flight entertainment by trying to play chess. Let that be a lesson to you nerds. You don't need to play chess on an airplane. Just watch a movie. You don't need to play chess. Chess is for nerds. And I'm a nerd.
As soon as I settled into my seat, the flight attendant welcomed me with a glass of Prosecco, or rather, a plastic cup of Prosecco, which, okay, is not exactly the height of luxury. But hey, it's Delta's signature move, and let's be real, Prosecco in any form still does the trick. I couldn't help but chuckle a bit. I mean, you have this super sleek lie-flat suite with closing doors, and then Prosecco in a plastic cup. It's like showing up to a black tie event in flip-flops. But you know what? I'll take it. Once we were airborne though, Delta stepped it up. The plastic was swapped for proper glassware, and I was handed a big pour of red wine. And I do mean big. Delta knows what's up. Why pour two small glasses of wine when you can just hand over one massive glass and save everyone some time? Honestly, it's kind of a big brain move. More wine, less back and forth for the flight attendants, everybody wins. Now onto the food. Delta lets you select your first class meal up to 7 days before your flight, which I always appreciate. I went with the Fox Bros BBQ beef short rib, famous in Atlanta, and I have to say this was probably the best beef I've had in the sky. It was served in a spiced beef broth with potatoes, carrots, and charred onions, along with a Mediterranean chopped salad. The short rib was tender, juicy, and downright delicious. Dessert was a vanilla cake, which was awesome as well. Delta doesn't provide menus for their shorter business class flights, but when you can select your meal in advance, you know what you're getting into. Now let's get into how I booked this incredible flight for less than $350 USD, with the kicker being that I didn't use points at all. I have found a bit of a trick that I've replicated numerous times to unlock these unique experiences. The full fare for this Atlanta to LA leg alone would have been over $2,000 US if booked as a one-way single flight itinerary in the Delta first class cabin. But by starting my journey in a smaller city, in this case Winnipeg, and then connecting through Atlanta, I was able to get a business class ticket from WestJet, which is a Delta partner, from Winnipeg to Atlanta, and then unlock this lie-flat pod for a fraction of the cost. All in all, I paid 478 Canadian dollars for these 2 flights in business class. This WestJet and Delta partnership has been super beneficial for me finding cheap flights. Now, it's not the most convenient strategy if you're looking to get to your destination as quickly as possible. But for me, the journey is the destination. It's all about maximizing comfort, lounges, and unique travel experiences. even if it takes a little longer. If you're wondering how to replicate this hack for yourself, it's all about getting into the nitty-gritty of airline pricing. Airlines charge higher prices for direct flights out of big cities because they know people will pay for convenience. By flying from a smaller city and connecting through a major hub, you can unlock cheaper flights in premium cabins. It's all about playing the system.
Okay, it's time for real talk from the pod. Are the doors a gimmick? Yes, absolutely. I'm literally, if I sit normally in the seat, I am taller than the height of these seats. So, yes, it's a gimmick.
So was this Delta One suite worth it? Absolutely. I mean, I paid $350 USD for it, and it included another business class flight. Come on. Even though some people, like me, call the closing door a gimmick, I have to say it does add a cool factor. The seat itself was incredibly comfortable, the food was fantastic, and the service was top notch. $350 USD is not a realistic price to pay for this experience. Expect it to likely cost a lot more. Even still, I think Delta's premium offering does all the main stuff right. And I mean, if you can pull off a booking like this, whether it's through clever routing, points hacking, or cash deals, it makes the experience that much more enjoyable. Even with the delays, the journey was worth every second. With that, I'm closing the door on this Delta first class experience. Until next time, see you in the skies.